ta'ala. So this afternoon, inshallah, we will conclude the series that we began with the tafsir of the four QHULs. Alhamdulillah, we've gone through the first three, and now inshallah this afternoon we will learn some basic tafsir and the meaning and the details of Surah AN-NAAS. What we mentioned last week when we started Surah Falaq was that both of these surahs are a means of protection, safety for individuals. And this particular surahs, meaning Surah Falaq and Surah Nas, according to many of the Mufassirun, was revealed all at one time, meaning they were revealed both at once. Even though there are two surahs, but they were revealed at one incident or one time. Some have mentioned that they have revealed in two different times, but most of the commentators have mentioned that they were revealed at one time. Another thing that we discussed last week was that Surah Al-Falaq is the means of protection from the external issues. And the Surah Nas itself that we'll cover inshallah this afternoon, it's something that engages with issues, problems, and difficulties, and even evils that may exist within an individual as well. So both external and internal support system that is necessary for a person to be supported. So let's get to the introduction, and then inshallah we'll turn directly to the tafsir as well. So number one, the introduction is that this entire surah itself, Surah An-Nas, is actually one sentence and not multiple. Because if you look at all the surahs, they are made up of multiple sentences that makes up a surah. Even though there are many ayats in Surah An-Nas, where we say, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ إِلَهِ النَّاسِ. We stop again and again as different ayats. But if you look at linguistically, all of these ayats in reality are a single statement. They are one sentence, this entire surah itself. So that's something amazing about Surah Nas itself. And this is an indication that this verse should not be looked at separately, but together as a whole. So when you're looking at Surah An-Nas, it is a whole thing that makes up the entire structure of the surah or the message that is being given to all of us. Another thing to also remember is that they all connect with each other, and this helps understand the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. And if you go back to the very basic day, the first time that we begin the tafsir of surah, the four QHULs, I mentioned that the word surah in reality in Arabic means something that is built structurally one after the other, one after the other. So when you build the structure one after the other, that in Arabic is known as surah. So not only that Surah An-Nas is connected, but all the other surahs are connected with one another, of how they are connected and how they combine with one another. So if you go back to the point is that this is something. And in Arabic linguistics or in Arabic language, it means the word surah in Arabic language means the floor on top of the other floor. So that is connected towards the other. So as verses are connected, the surahs are also connected with one another. Now with regards to its revelation, this surah was revealed together with Surah Falaq, either before it or either after it. What we know from the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, that the surahs were all revealed at different times. Some are known to be the Meccan surahs, some are known to be the Madani surahs. But the important part to remember is that the compilation of these surahs to be structured like this. For example, Surah Fatiha, Surah Baqarah, Surah Nisa, Al Imran, and Nisa like that. All these particular surahs like that were structured or they were combined at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would repeat the Quran in a particular manner with Jibreel alayhi salam every single year. There are certain surahs that were revealed, portion of it in Mecca, portions of it in Medina as well. But they were all combined near the end of the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he would repeat these surahs with Angel Jibreel. So Surah Falaq, according to the scholars, might have been or could have been revealed either before Surah Falaq or could have been revealed after as well. But they were revealed as a piece together as a means of protection. In this very surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us that we not only turn to Him in the times of need, but we should turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times. The true need of an insan, a human being, is that we should turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all moments and every moment of our life. But as insan, as human beings, what we realize is that as human beings, we usually turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the times of needs only, right? That Allah is reminding us. It's insan. But the surah itself, in the surah prior to it, it's a protection for us. Protection from the danger that is outside, and the protection from the danger that is inside the insan as well. And the most valuable thing that we can take to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Qiyamah, brothers and sisters, it's a clean heart. That's the most valuable thing that we can take to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Along with all the riches and all the things that Allah has given us, the most valuable thing that any one of us can ever take to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with is, it's a clean heart. And Surah An-NAAS really works towards protecting and cleansing the inside, which is the heart itself. And whereas Surah Al-Falaq protects us from the outside dangers that we talked about last week. And that's why the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also mentioned, "Inna fil jasadi mudghah." There is a piece of flesh in a human body. "Idha saluhat saluha al-jasadu kullu, wa idha fasadat fasada al-jasadu kullu, ala wa hiya al-qalb." Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said there is a piece of flesh in a human body. If it is correct, the entire body is correct. If it is corrupted, the entire body is corrupted. And then the Nabi of Allah ﷺ said, it's the heart, it's the heart, it's the heart of an individual. And that's why when the heart becomes corrupted, the eyes will look at what is correct. The ears will listen to what is correct. The tongues will speak what is correct. And the minds will think of what is correct. But unfortunately, when the hearts become corrupted, eyes will know it's not right, but they will look at wrong. The tongues will know it's wrong to speak, but it will speak the wrong. The ears will listen to wrong, even though knowing it's not right and correct for us. So, inna fil jasadi mudghah, there's a piece of flesh. If it is corrected, the entire body is corrected. So, Surah An-NAAS really works on cleansing the inside of our hearts, the inner dangers that may affect the hearts of an individual. So, these two surahs are a protection of our deen. An-NAAS for our deen, and Surah Al-Falaq for our dunya, a combination of both that should always be with us because they protect us in both ways. And the protection of our dunya and deen is both necessary as well. Deen and dunya are both necessary, that we need to protect them. And of course, the outside and the inside. In this particular surah of the Quran, Surah An-NAAS, there are 3 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that are chosen. If you remember from the tafsir last week, we said that in Surah Falaq, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only uses His name one name of His. And He uses the word Rabb. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ. He only uses the word Rabb when it talks about the evil that exists around us, outside. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about the evils inside, the cleansing of the heart, purifying of our deen, in this very surah of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses 3 different names of His. 3 different attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are used and chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this very surah. And to point His divinity and to show us that we as individuals are powerless. And thus we need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to overcome our nafs, our desires, the lusts that are inside, and to really be protected from the evils and the whispers of shaitan. That's why the Nabi of Allah ﷺ said, a person who can control their nafs, a person who can control their desires, Jannah is not very far away from that person. One step upon their nafs, their desires, the second will be in Jannah, the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in Surah Nas, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses 3 of His names. He uses the word Lord, the King, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentioned God, which I will explain in just a few moments. The Quran ends with seeking refuge in Allah. This is the ending portion of the Quran. As we're completing the Quran ends with seeking the refuge, protection in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it begins with Al-Fatiha. So the Quran begins with Fatiha, it begins with AN-NAAS, which speaks about seeking help with Allah alone. So the Quran begins with إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. Oh Allah, we worship you, we seek you for your assistance, provide us and help us and guide us. That's what we're asking in the beginning part of the Quran as well. And the Quran also ends in seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the protection and seeking help from Allah in the beginning of the Quran and in the ending of the Quran as well. So which tells us as insan, as human beings, and how dependent we are to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And irrespective of how powerful and how strong and intellectually well-versed we become, we are nothing compared to the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we should always remain humble, be connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and seek the assistance and help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we begin the surah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions to us, Ba'da a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. Say, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, I seek refuge with the Lord of the people, Rabbin nas. The word Rabb repeats itself. And the word Rabb, which means the Lord in Arabic language, has many other meanings. One meaning of the word Rabb is the authority, the most powerful. That's number one. Another meaning of Rabb is the owner, Malik, the one who owns. Number three, the word Rabb means the one that always gives, the giver of gifts, In'am, the one that always provides, always nourishes, always gives. Another meaning of the word Rabb is the one that nurtures, the one that allows you to grow as you are in your own capacities, the one that a child unable to even crawl or sit, Allah allows them to learn how to sit and to crawl and to walk and to run and to become strong and powerful. So the one that nurtures from the very beginning allows them to become the best of takhliq, the best of creation. So when we say the word Rabb does not only mean the one that we worship, but it means, the one that is the sole authority. There's no power, there's no might, there's no authority above the authority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number two, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the ultimate owner, the owner of each and everything. And brothers and sisters, if we were to once realize what the word owner means, we will realize our presence and the purpose of our presence in this world. Because if we say that Allah is the true owner, it makes us realize that everything that we have is an amana and a trust that will be taken away. And a person can never feel uncomfortable losing something or gaining something because they know that they're not the ultimate owners of anything that they have. Yes, temporarily Allah has made me the owner of something. My limbs, my life, our wealth, our belongings. But the ultimate owner is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when we say, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ, when we say the word Rabb, it means the owner of everything that we have in our lives. Another thing to remember from the words of Rabb is that all blessings in our lives are a gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not that because I deserve it, that's why I have it. A lot of time we begin to feel and think that many things that we have in our lives because I deserve it, that's why I have it. No. It's the gift of Allah. It's the inam of Allah. Allah can give whoever He wants. Allah can take whenever He wants. It's the sole sheer mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a complete gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who can allow us to benefit from the things that we have. Or sometimes we lose those benefits as well. So the first thing that the surah begins with, and we're talking about, let's go back a little bit. This surah is a means of protection of the inner evils or the wrong that exists inside the heart of a person. So we're beginning the surah by asking, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. We seek refuge in the Rabb, the authority, the owner, the one that provides and gives, the one that nurtures, all of that for the Lord of the people. Not me, not you, but every single person who has come, that is here, and that will come till the day of Qiyamah. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. Another meaning of the word Rabb is the one who takes care and also maintains. That's also the meaning of Rabb. So we learned 5 quick meanings of the word Rabb. Authority, owner, the one that gives gifts, the one that nurtures, and the one who takes care and maintains. All are the meanings of the word Rabb. So we're asking the Rabb, that Rabb with all of these meanings, who is the Rabb of the entire mankind. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. Seek refuge in the Rabb of the humanity. And the word Rabb entails that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator and the controller of all existence at all times. The creator and the control of all existence at all times. Second ayat, Malik AN-NAAS. And as I said, that this surah contains 3 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Surah Falaq only had the word Rabb, right? One particular quality. This surah has 3 qualities. Malik AN-NAAS, the king of mankind. And he is the king of all creations, including the one who rules and those who are ruled. He's Malik al-Mulk. He's the king of all kings. So when we say the king of mankind, Malik AN-NAAS, it means that all creations of Allah, even the kings, are the makhluk of Allah. He's the king of all kings. And those who rule and those who are ruled, it is He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who rules them all, controls their actions, manages their affairs, grants them honor, grants people humiliation, takes away wealth, gives wealth. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who says in the Quran, بِيَدِكَ الْخَيْرِ إِنَّكَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ تُولِجُ اللَّيْلَ فِي النَّهَارِ وَتُولِجُ النَّهَارَ فِي اللَّيْلِ وَتُخْرِجُ الْحَيَّ مِنَ الْمَيِّتِ وَتُخْرِجُ الْمَيَّتَ مِنَ الْحَيِّ. You know, this is all the sifat and the qualities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the ayats of the Quran. It is Allah who gives mulk. تُؤْتِي الْمُلْكَ مَنْ تَشَاءُ وَتَنْزِعُ الْمُلْكَ مِمَّنْ تَشَاءُ وَتُعِزُّ مَنْ تَشَاءُ وَتُذِلُّ مَنْ تَشَاءُ. It is Allah who gives the mulk in kingdom. It is Allah who takes away the mulk in kingdom. It is Allah who gives honor and dignity and respect. And it is Allah who takes that away as well. Namrud, the king of his time, the most honorable, people would do sajda to him to be given or granted blessings. A single mosquito changed the entire aspect of how the king rules. One single, according to the seerah and the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, a single mosquito that went up to his brain caused him so much pain that the people who would do sajda and bow down, he would ask them to hit his head. And until he was not hit, he would provide them with blessings. Right? Meaning Allah can change izzat and dignity and humiliation at any time. It is all in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Malik AN-NAAS, Allah is the king of all kings, the one who gives, the one who takes away, the provider and the nourisher. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ilahi AN-NAAS. So قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ, the Rabb of Nas. Rabb, I mentioned 5 things for all of us to remember, inshallah. Authority, owner, the one that gives gifts, the one that nurtures, the one that maintains, and also takes care of. So we ask that Rabb, who is the Rabb of all the humanity, every single person, controlling and creation of all existence. Number 2, Malik AN-NAAS, he's the king of all creation, king of all mankind. King of the ruled and the king of the rulers is all Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gives kingdom, he takes away kingdom. He gives wealth, he takes away wealth. That is that king, Malik AN-NAAS. Third ayat of the Quran, Ilahi AN-NAAS, which means the one, and of course I'll get to the meaning of the word ilah, but in general English we say the God of mankind. You know, the one that you worship, ilah. And we discussed this in Surah, I think Surah Ikhlas, we discussed the details of the word ilah. Where does the word ilah come from? Is Allah the word that is extracted from ilah? Or the word Allah is the word itself? And we talked about the details of it in a lot of details a few weeks ago. But the word ilah means, as we say, la ilaha. There is no God. There is none worthy of worship except Allah. So the word ilah has been translated into God, worthy of worship. So the third ayat says, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ إِلَهِ النَّاسِ, the God of mankind. What sets us apart from animals is our pursuit of a deity. Otherwise, even animals are eating, they have families, they have life, and they go away. Otherwise, we're not much different from that. We eat, we sleep, we pursue all needs of our lives as human beings, as insans. And when we remove deity, when we remove the Rabb, Ilah from the equation, then we tend to cross the boundary set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why the Quran says that this insan, human being, is sometimes greater than malaika and angels. وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونِ وَطُورِ سِينِينَ وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. After 4 qasams, Allah says the insan is the greatest of the creation. But in another ayat of the Quran, Allah says in the Quran, أُولَٰئِكَ كَالْأَنْعَامِ بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ. This insan is like an animal, or even worse than an animal, the Quran says. بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ. That they are worse than the animals. Insan sometimes can become worse than the animals. Reason is, when we take the equation of Rabb out of our lives. When deity, when Allah remains as an equation of our lives, this insan becomes greater than malaika and angels. And when Rabb, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ilah, the deity, the God, is taken from the equation of a person's life, then this insan's life will become worse than animals. To harm others, to hurt others, to take benefit in a way that irrespective of what happens to other humans, they don't care. Even an animal will have courtesy for another animal. But insan will become so, to a level of such depths of evil that the Quran says they will fall beneath the animals. They will have no courtesy for anyone because the equation, the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not present. So when you remove deity from this equation, we tend to cross the limits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is when you begin to see that insan begins to fulfill their desires, their lust, because there is no restriction in that person's life anymore. And ulama have mentioned this, is that when Allah mentions qawm and nations in the Quran, where the adab and the punishment of Allah came, there were many nations that either were given 1 or 2 punishments. The nation of Ad, the nation of Samud, 1 or 2 adabs that we find. That there was a scream that destroyed the people of Ad, and the people who came afterwards, Samud as well. Samud actually. But why were the people of the nation of Lut alayhi salam given 5 azabs? There were 5 punishments sent to that nation. It's because when they forgot Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, completely came out of that equation, then lusts and desires became part of their lives, and there were no boundaries for those individuals. So when some nation or any nation begins to follow their desires without any boundaries and restrictions, they are bound to receive the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah protect us. This is the dua of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that is protecting this ummah at this moment from the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Otherwise, the oceans will ask Allah to let go of the rains, and the waves will come and destroy the humanity. The skies are asking Allah to let Him hold, not let them be held back, and they could come and they would just finish and destroy for the evil that exists on the face of this earth. Every single evil that existed in the nations of the past exists at this moment. May Allah forgive brothers and sisters. As the Nabi of Allah ﷺ said, that the people who had committed the wrongs and the evils with their own families and mothers, the time of Bani Israel, this nation will also do so. It's happening. But what is holding back the wrath of Allah is the dua of Rasulullah ﷺ that, oh Allah, do not let my ummah be destroyed all at one time. Do not let a wrath of yours to come which will change the faces of my people. So when you take away Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from this, and that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using these names in the beginning of the surah to let us know that if we want the cleansing of our hearts, we need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be a part of every single equation of our lives. Everything that we do, Allah has to be a part of it, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So then, when we begin to see people, when there's no limitation of Rabb and deity, then they will fulfill their desires. That's why the Arabic couplet says that when haya and the consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leaves your life, then you can do whatever you want. إِذَا فَاتَتَ الْحَيَا فَفْعَلْ مَا شِئْتَ. The Arabics say that if haya leaves you, then you can do whatever you want. Because when haya is not present, then there is no limitations for you to be stopped. When there is haya, then you will have limitations. I can't do this. Yes, I can go this far, that's wrong, but there's still haya, there's some modesty, there's some consciousness. إِذَا فَاتَتَ الْحَيَا, when haya dies, then you do whatever you want. Because then there is no reins and nothing holding that person back. There's no ilah, there's no deity in that equation. And that is why we find many people in our lives who begin to, subhanAllah, get involved in things that are completely away. And this is why it's important that we seek Rabb, we seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our lives. And this is one thing that we should remember, is that the existence and the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in any capacity will stop us from going and crossing the limits. Even if a person is the most sinful person. But if there is some point of consciousness of Allah, my Allah is there, Allah exists, that will stop them one day from crossing all limits. So when we say AN-NAAS, we also realize, and when we realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in no need of anything or anyone, and that everything else relies on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we recognize that He is alone that deserves to be worshipped. AN-NAAS. So now we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So remember that Surah An-NAS is like a whole sentence to itself, even though broken into ayats, but we're asking Allah through multiple ways. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. Rabb had 5 words. O Allah, the Rabb of Nas, mankind. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ, the King of humanity, the King of the ruled and the rulers, the one who gives, the one who takes, the one who gives wealth, the one who takes away. Everything from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ilahi nas. One, mean the one that is the God of mankind. The one who is ilah, the deity, the point that controls and manages each and everything that exists in our worlds. We says, min sharril waswasil khannas. We're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the evil of the retreating whispers. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, protect us from those whispers that continuously continue at all times, those that repeat themselves again and again. Let's break this ayat so we can understand this a little better. Min sharril waswasil khannas. The Arabic word shar, min shar, from the shar of, from the evil of. What does the word shar mean, or the word evil means? It comes from a word meaning when a bit of fire, it jumps out of the fire and touches you, and it forms a pain, it causes sort of a pain. So if you've ever sat next to a fire pit or a barbecue or anything where the fire is burning, and a spark of fire that jumps and it touches you and it just burns you a little bit. That spark that burns you, in Arabic linguistics, this is what the word shar means. That's where the word shar comes from. Even though it is known as evil, but the word shar in the Arabic linguistics and Arabic dictionary comes from a word meaning when a bit of fire that jumps out of the fire and it touches you and it forms a painful action. That in Arabic is known as the word shar. Now, وَمِن شَرِّ الْوَسْوَاسِ الْخَنَّاسِ. What is waswasa? The word waswasa in Arabic means whispers. But where does it actually come from? Where does it stem from, the Arabic language? Because to understand it deeply, we must know where these words come from. And that's the beauty of the Arabic language, is that all of it comes from the depths of something great. All Arabic language has a deeper meaning, I was reading this meaning that the word yaqeen, the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, comes from the Arabic word of stability. And then the word yaqeen has been given, and this is a side conversation, just a quick one, that the Arabic language and the linguistics gives an example. They say, imagine a cave that is not bothered or touched by any light, wind, weather, no conditions ever harm them. And within the depths of this cave, there is a puddle of water that stays there. No rain, no water, no air, no changing of weather has any effect on that water inside. Nothing. It remains stable. It says that is the meaning of yaqeen. Stability of something irrespective of what comes around at all times. So all meanings in Arabic or words have a deeper meaning. So the word waswasa, it comes from the word meaning the sound of the clinking of a jewelry in a way that you barely hear it. Something that slowly, cranks, or something that slowly moves that you can barely even hear the movement or the noise of it. And it also includes, and the word waswasa in Arabic language, it also indicates that when a person goes hunting, and who is going through the depths of the grass while waiting for the animal or the target to move, and the stay put of the very low whisper of a hunter when they're searching for the animal, that the noise that comes, the minutest noise that comes by the movement of that hunter on that grass, in Arabic linguistics, that is also known as waswasa. Right? This is how light, that's how quickly it comes, right? So now we need to connect that to the larger waswasa of insan or waswasa of shaitan, that you don't even see it coming to you. You don't even feel it coming to you. That spark that came out of that fire and burnt you, you never even felt it. If you knew that fire was coming, you would have never stood there. It came all of a sudden and burnt you, and you realized, oh, subhanAllah. Or that hunter that's moving so quickly, and that noise that you can't really even imagine and hear, that's the deeper meaning of the word waswasa itself. So basically, it means a sound made by a hunter before he catches his prey. That sound that slowly comes, because a little bit of sound that comes right before that hunter moves, that is what is known as waswasa. Another thing to also remember with waswasa and whisper is that when you do not even notice when someone is giving you a suggestion, when someone is telling you something but you don't realize that they're telling you, in Arabic language that is also known as a waswasa. When someone is really good at giving you subtle suggestions that you do not even realize. Someone gives subtle suggestions to others, but others don't realize that this is a suggestion to you. Do this, but that someone doesn't realize. So these are all waswasas. These are all meanings in the Arabic linguistics of the word waswasa actually means. So this ayat has few things. Min sharril waswasil khannas. The word shar, please remember, it comes from the word evil. The word shar means something that the fire that burns and comes so quickly and harms an individual. The word waswasa, or whispers, has multiple meanings. Number one, the meaning of clanking of a jewelry so lightly you don't even know that something is moving. Or the moving of a hunter, or someone giving a subtle example, or an opinion or suggestion that you don't realize. That's the meaning of it. The last word in this ayat, in this particular ayat, is al-khannas. Min sharril waswasil khannas. The word khannas, and if you were to read the Arabic language of it, which means retreating, meaning something that comes again and again. So in the Arabic linguistic, when a star flickers and disappears quickly, when a star that flickers and disappears, that is known as al-khannas. Another meaning of the word khannas means that a gesture that is barely detectable. Gesture that you give someone that is barely detectable. It comes and it goes. A gesture that came and it just went away. And these are all meanings of the word khannas. Another meaning is that when someone sneaks away in a manner that is like he was not even there to begin with. Meaning someone left so quickly like they were not even present. That is also the meaning of al-khannas. Another meaning is that can also mean to distract someone in order to put him away from the path or their goal as well. This is all known as khannas as well. So human beings have been given a very restricted time on this planet. And they need to use it to make sure that they find the purpose to achieve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the shaitan's job is to delay and to distract a person finding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our purpose, our maqsad in insan is, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. We have not created insan and jinn to worship Allah. لِيَعْبُدُونَ, according to all commentators of the Quran, means أَيْ يَعْرِفُونَ, is to recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To do the ta'aruf of Allah. To recognize Allah is the maqsad of insan, humans and jinns. So as human beings, it is our purpose to find Allah But the work of shaitan is to distract us and to delay us in finding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Till the last moments of our lives that we're not able to find Allah. That's the distraction that is created by shaitan. So the word al-Khannas, going back towards this, few things to remember. Khannas means something that flickers and disappears very quickly. Something that is a gesture but is very barely detectable. Someone sneaks away in a manner that they're not even known that they are gone. Someone distracts you in order to put you away from the path and the goal of your life. Another meaning of Khannas is that Allah is telling us that there are very powerful and dangerous things that we don't recognize that exist around us, that Allah is informing us to seek protection from. And there's a strong connection between what we hear and how that impacts our hearts. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to us His words of guidance, the Quran, to our hearts, so the Quran can really touch our hearts. And at the end of the day, it is the battle of the words. Allah's words are light, they are nur, the Quran is nur, and the evil is darkness. So we have to decide what type of words we want to surround ourselves with. The evil of the world or the things, or the nur and the light of Quran that we need to. The next ayat of the Quran, and this going back, it was from the evil of the retreating, meaning those that come again and again, the whispers. The next ayat of the Quran is alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas. This is the second last ayat. Alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, who whispers the evil into the hearts of mankind. And we all have, as we know from the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that we all have a shaitan, a devil that is assigned to make evil suggestion to us, as it is mentioned in the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it is known as qareen. The Quran also talks about that the partner that is assigned to all of us at all times is a shaitan known as the qareen, a partner, an associate with us. And according to the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that shaitan, the devil, encourages us to do evil and keeps us away from the good deeds. And he comes and makes suggestions to us and disappears consistently all the time, right? That qareen, and that's why it is important to protect our inside. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses 3 of His names, because the inner shaitan and the evil is much more hard than the outer shaitan that is around us. Because it's easy for me to go and put myself away from the wrong that is happening in my life, but what's going on inside is very hard to manage. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that there's a qareen that everyone has. So someone asked, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what happened to your shaitan? The Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I invited him towards Islam and he became a Muslim. He accepted Islam. And now rather than encouraging me to do wrong, he encourages me to do the right. It's a force of good for me, right? So, subhanallah, the ayat of the Quran is saying, alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas. And oh Allah, protect us from the whispers of the evil that whispers within the hearts of the mankind. It's the devil that is with each and every person. Hadith of Rasulullah, known as the qareen, that encourages us to do the wrong and stay away from the good. And he comes to make suggestions and goes so quickly that we don't even realize that the shaitan made that. And he never takes a break, right? Not even in Ramadan. That inner one never takes a break. That's why, brothers and sisters, after Ramadan or during Ramadan, we get to learn that we always cannot blame shaitan. Sometimes it's our own habits. Forgive me, brothers and sisters. The evil habits of my own life are for me to blame, rather than saying it's always the shaitan. If something is not allowing me to rise up and make salah and come to the masjid and read Quran, I can't always be blaming shaitan at all times. So what we understand from this qareen is that it's not taking any breaks. And one of the main suggestions that shaitan, the qareen, makes is to encourage us not to really not do the good deeds, but to delay the good deeds. And he comes to make suggestions and make us think that it's okay that we don't have to do these good deeds. So this is a continuous effort of this qareen, is that he may not stop us from the wrong, but will delay us from doing the wrong. That's why the Nabi of Allah said, when Allah puts in your heart to do something good, do it. Don't wait. The Nabi of Allah ﷺ finished his salah. As soon as he finished salah, he started crossing the sufu with Sahaba. He went home and he came back. Sahaba never seen him do this. Ya Rasulullah, we never seen you do this. What happened? He said, I had some gold coins that were given to me. I forgot to give them as sadaqah. I did not want it to delay the khair. He wasn't going to stay with the Nabi of Allah. He left the world that he did not have enough oil in his house so that his lanterns could be burned. Umm al-Mu'mineen Aisha said, if he had enough oil, we would have dipped in the bread and eaten it because there was nothing to eat in his house. Those gold coins were not going to stay in his house. But he says, Allah put me in my heart. I want to take care of it as soon as I could. So never delay in khair. That's one thing that we always have to. When Allah puts something in your heart, just do it of khair. Do not delay in righteousness. It's the rahmah of Allah that comes in our hearts. And one of the biggest effort of the qareen, the devil, is not to completely stop us, but to delay us. Do it later, do it later. And that delay makes us feel that it never comes back to us again. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said that it is like the devil sits on top of your hearts, waiting for an opening to enter. Subhanallah, this is the condition. And it is we opt to allow the shaitan to enter or not. And once the shaitan enters, the evil deeds no longer seems bad to the person. And they become habit and part of their lives. It gets to a point where the devil does not even need to suggest anymore because the insan becomes so used to doing the wrong that the shaitan does not even have to make the efforts. Last ayats. Min al-jinnati wan-nas. The last ayat. And from amongst the jinn and mankind. We're asking protection, that Allah protects us from the evil of the whispers that is put inside, from the qareen, from the devil. And Allah also from amongst the jinns and insan as well. Now those people who let the devil, shaitan, into their hearts, eventually becomes the ambassadors of the devils themselves. May Allah protect us. Those who let the shaitan in their hearts will one day become the workers of shaitan. Min al-jinnati wan-nas, as the ayat mentions. And they, may Allah forgive and protect us from such people and being ever amongst those that they transform into human devils. Ayat of the Quran is saying, Min al-jinnati wan-nas. From amongst the jinns, from amongst them, the jinn and the mankind, who are the most evil of the people. So they transform into, they are insans, but they're working as shayateen. They're working as evils, both the jinns and the human beings, because they have gone to a level of such evil that now, even though they may have the features of humans, but they act as a shayateen, and they become partners with the devil. And this is when these people begin to give you evil suggestions. Rather than inviting towards righteousness, they will hold you towards wrong. And the word shaitan, devil, in the Arabic language comes from a very important word to understand. The word shaitan comes from the word meaning to let something burn for a very long period of time. That's the word shaitan. When you let something burn for a very long period of time, that in Arabic language is known as shaitan. And he's called this because he wants to burn something inside of you and keep it burning. The desires of evil. Shaitan doesn't force you. He just puts that spark inside. He just puts that little fire so that the entire thing burns down. That's the work of shaitan, right? He puts that spark. So the word shaitan in Arabic means something that burns for a very long period of time. So shaitan wants that spark inside of us. That's why we need to continuously protect the inside. That's why it's so important to protect our hearts. Another name for the devil, another name for shaitan is Iblis. You must have heard this from the books of Hadith and others. And the word Iblis comes from the word which means to cut off. The word Iblis means to cut something off. And which means that he cuts us off from all good things. The purpose of shaitan is to cut us all from all the khair and good. Another meaning of shaitan, of the word Iblis, is hopeless. Another meaning of the word Iblis is hopeless. And shaitan, he wants us to commit the wrongs and then make us hopeless and guilty. But Allah is Kareem, Allah is forgiving. Allah gives us that hope and encouragement to always come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So another meaning of Iblis, one of the meanings of Iblis is to cut off, meaning cutting us off from good deeds. It also means to become hopeless. Shaitan wants us to become hopeless of Allah and leave and turn away, but Allah gives us that encouragement. So the shaitan wants to suggest to us that after you do anything evil or something evil, now you're an evil person. You're probably going to Jahannam anyway. So do all the wrong you want and take them to the worst of the locations. But doesn't realize that there's hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy. Rahmah, He's the most forgiving. And sometimes the devil, the shaitan, from amongst the mankind also do the same. You have done enough, but let's do it wrong one more time. Right? Insan as well. Not only the feelings, but the insan becomes a means of encouragement. Bro, you already done that once. Why are you scared of doing it again? You've done it once. Why not do it again? Right? This is a continuous thing from the shaitan and from the people as well that we find. So protection against wrong individuals as well. So this is an entire dua, supplication and prayer that we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from the inner evil that will lead us towards a point that we will lose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and go away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's quickly summarize the ayat of the Quran, 11 chapter 114, Surah AN-NAAS. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ba'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. Say, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, I seek refuge with the Lord of the people. Malikin nas, the king of mankind. Ilahin nas, the God of mankind. Even though I don't like the word God, but this is the closest translation that we can find, in a sense that ilah, worthy of worship. People, the one that we worship. Min sharril waswasil khannas, from the evils of those whispers that continue at all time. Alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, who whisper evil into the hearts and the chest of mankind. Min al jinnati wan nas, from amongst the jinn and the mankind. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from the evils of this world. Allah protect our hearts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to become obedient to the commands of Allah and the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and allow us to live our life according to the Quran and the beautiful way of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Just a very quick reminder, inshallah, as we know that tomorrow is the solar eclipse. According to the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there is a prescribed sunnah prayer known as Salatul Kusuf. One is khusuf and one is kusuf. One is for the lunar and one is for the solar. Kusuf is known for the solar eclipse. The Nabi of Allah ﷺ at his time at once resorted to the masjid towards ibadah, towards salah. According to one hadith, and I'll explain this tomorrow as well, the people thought that the passing away of the son of Rasulullah ﷺ, Qasim, had caused the sun or the moon to cross or some in a way that it became dark. And the Nabi of Allah ﷺ says, it does not occur for that reason. It is a phenomena, manifestation, and the greatness and the qudrat of the creation of Allah. It doesn't happen because of the deeds or the actions, but it is a reminder of the power and the might of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Nabi of Allah ﷺ recommended us that we engage in ibadah as much as we can. Inshallah, if we can securely get to a masjid before the eclipse time, because you don't want to cause any danger or harm to yourself, inshallah, we're planning to start a little bit before 3 o'clock, where we will begin a small khatira on the khutbah or the sermon on Rasulullah's message on the day when he had led Salatul Kusuf. Inshallah, we will have either 2 or 4 rakat. According to Sunnah, you can either make 2 or 4 rakats of salah. According to the early opinions of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayh, the salah should be recited quietly. But according to Imam Muhammad, Imam Yusuf rahmatullah alayh, that you should recite loudly. So inshallah, we will have jahran qira'at of either 2 or 4 rakats. Minimum 2, maximum 4. It is recommended to recite long surahs of the Quran. Al-Baqarah and Ali Imran. No, I'm just kidding. Inshallah, we're going to try not to make it that long. Have some ready, inshallah, to lead. Baqarah and Ali Imran, 2 rakats. So read long rakats as much as we can. But we will try to make the salah for 20 to 25 minutes. That's the prime time, the climax time of eclipse, from around 3:05 to around 3:25, around that time, inshallah. And from 3:25 on for the next 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes, inshallah, we'll engage in collective dua for the rahmah on the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ. So around 3, a little bit around before 3, we'll send out the flyer, message and details inshallah for all of you tonight through ICLI WhatsApp and page as well. So a little before 3, a little after 3, about 35 to 40 minutes total, inshallah, we will take. This will be the peak and climax time. So the main thing is, inshallah, a little khatira, a little talk on the importance of why this is done. 2 or 4 rakat, depending on, inshallah, how engaging the community is. Jahran salah, longer rakats. Does not have to be long rakats. It could be long ruku, long sajda, making long dua. Don't have to say 3 times Subhana Rabbil A'la. Maybe 15 times, 21 times. Long ruku, long sajda is the sunnah. And then right after that, engaging in collective dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the rahmah upon us. May Allah accept from all of us, inshallah, and allow us. And tonight is our Khatm al-Quran as well. So please join us at 9 o'clock. SubhanAllah.